Bam.
Great.
Very few people get that on the first try.
Hey, I'm a natural.
We're back, Organized Sound Podcast. I'm your host, Mahib Balde. I'm joined today by Gabe Gill.
Let's go.
And we're hanging out over in Boston. And he's here to talk about his progression music and the come up of an Eastern to Western Mass life of arts.
True.
Like straight up. His room is just like a dope aesthetic
so much
space
here, yeah.
of all sorts of coolness. So talk about growing up in Massachusetts.
I need that gold, I need that perp. Got that 2-4 chillin' on my shirt. Added 7 cause I always put in work. 24/7, let me kill the verse.
So something that I think is like something that I was thinking about the other day is like I feel like something that's cool about Mass, or especially about Western Mass, is that I feel like a lot of kids that I meet have like this feeling where it's like, oh, I grew up in like a terrible small town and then I had to leave and go to a city. But I feel like I never really like had that growing up. Like I actually like after I graduated high school, I just like chilled and lived at home for a year, and like I didn't really, it was like a positive thing. Like I didn't really feel like I was like anxious to move or leave that area because I did so much there. Like after high school, like straight out of high school, I like started working at this magazine that I still work for and do stuff with.
Take magazine,
yeah,
right?
Take. And then I worked at this gallery in Northampton for a little bit. And I was like teaching a bunch of improv classes and stuff like that, and just working at different places. And then I feel like then when I was like, I want to go back to Boston, go to school there and see what's out there, it was very like just in tune with what I wanted. And it wasn't me being like, like I need to get away from like this place. Cause I feel like will always like go back to Western Mass and like probably will live there for, a good like chunk of my life.
That's awesome. So you really think even if your family wasn't around that this would be your spot?
I think probably. I think that like right now that's like a big part of it, but I think like I think that like when I am like I think like 30, 40 years old, I will definitely like move back there. I feel like
Okay.
right now I want to
a nice settle down.
Yeah,
spot.
exactly. I feel like right now like I'm in my 20s, like I want to go around and do different things and like experience what I can experience.
Yeah,
and
see the world.
Exactly, but like I feel like that's the end. That's like the end spot, kind of.
Nice. So let's talk about starting in music. How did you get started?
So when I was a little kid, I like sang a lot, but I feel like I was kind of too like ADD to really like learn any instruments. So I never like really played any instruments when I was a kid, but I would sing a lot and I would write a lot and I drew a lot as a little kid. Like that was my main thing, was like illustration and drawing and art. And then I took like 1 year of band in middle school and I just sucked at it. Like
For what instrument?
for saxophone.
Okay.
And I would just like chill there and like pretend to play the saxophone. And I totally like didn't know how to play it. And then I switched to chorus. So I was like singing for a couple years and I knew that like I had a pretty good voice. Like I didn't think I had like an amazing voice, but I was like, okay, I definitely can like carry a tune. Like I can definitely sing. And then when I was in maybe 8th or 9th grade, I met this kid, Tieran, who I knew that he wrote songs and I knew that he could play the guitar really well. And I like went over to his house to like sleep over one time, and we like chilled for a couple minutes and it was really awkward. And then he was like, yeah, let's write a song. And we just like wrote a song. And I was like, oh, I can do this now. Yeah. And then we were, and then
boredom.
Yeah, exactly. And then we were in a band for probably 5 years.
Damn.
After that, this band called Dreamy, that was me, him, his brother Sagan, and this kid Nikolai, who goes to UMass now. And that ended up kind of just like breaking off because we all ended up going to school in different spots. But that was kind of like, I kind of like learned how to make music from them because they were all like amazing musicians. And just from like, I feel like that made my voice get better. Also my voice like changed during that time because we started when I was like 14, 13.
Puberty.
Exactly, yeah. It was like
Gotta
the
love
puberty band. And yeah, and that was kind of like where I figured out like what kind of like my sound was or what sounds I liked.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you go into producing at all?
Yeah, I started making beats when I was probably in 10th grade because I was huge Kanye fan from like starting in like middle school, and I just would like watch the like videos of him like in the studio like making beats and stuff, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. So I think that like from the start, like my heroes were kind of like Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
And then like
is he the
Kanye.
lead singer?
Yeah. Because I think both
he's
of
dope.
those people were
He's
like
got such high energy.
He does, yeah. And so I feel like that was kind of like those are still like when I think about like what kind of made me start, because both of them were people that made music feel really accessible to me, because neither of them really like play instruments or like have a crazy like music theory knowledge. They just were really creative and really like passionate. So I started making beats in like probably when I was like 15 or 16, and got some beats to like local dudes from Western Mass. And then like sent out a couple beats, like placed a couple like just by sending stuff out on the internet. But I feel like, and Edo obviously, I never got like super deep into beat making though. I think that I always was like wanted to just make beats for myself, because I feel like my style got so like weird after a while that I was like,
it was for you. It was from you and for you.
Exactly. Yeah. That I felt like making beats became more of like a songwriting tool to me than like just making a beat and then sending it off and like having nothing to do with it. I wasn't like as much of a fan of that.
Okay. Well, I want to get right into the songs that are on your SoundCloud right now. I was perusing that. Also, wait, what's the website? Chatty Gabe?
ChattyGabe.com.
Hey, check it out. So songs and visuals, which you have a really unique approach to both. Do you feel you fit into any genre?
Pop. I would say I'm a pop artist.
You're a pop artist.
Yeah.
Dope. And I saw you labeled like some of your stuff indie too, and I definitely have just like these alternative vibes.
Yeah.
So the song I really like right now, Promise Ring.
Thank you.
Your music really seems to revolve around kind of relationshipy topics.
Yeah.
Loser's the latest single out right now. Also seems like it's about a girl.
Yeah.
But fill me in.
I think that it's almost like a lot of my music recently has been about like memory, I think, and about kind of like those like just I don't know, just like those parts of your life that you'll always remember, I guess.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like when I'm writing a song, I think I'd never really like sit down. I'm like, I'm going to write like a song for the ladies. Like I'm going to write like a song about a girl. But like, I think it ends up as that a lot of the time, or just about relationships or interactions that I've had, because I always just try to think like, what's an experience that I want to articulate that has left like a strong impression on me. Like I feel like
so
that's
you
just
write
what
to the
comes
mood.
out. Yeah, I just write to the mood.
Is there a certain like time of day where stuff comes to you easily?
Yeah, well, what's funny is that kind of like either morning or night, I think. Like there was a while this summer where I was working this job like in this kitchen, and I would get home really late, and then I would like have a hard time falling asleep, and I would fall asleep at like whatever, like 4 or something like that a.m. And then I would have really like weird dreams, because I feel like when I'm sleeping like in like the morning hours, sort of, my like dreams are always really weird.
They get more hardcore.
Yeah, and then I would wake up at like 8 or something and just be like hungover from these like dreams, and I would like write like immediately.
Yeah.
And I think that that's influenced my music, because a lot of it is kind of like dreamy and like nostalgic kind of.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah,
vibe.
so I feel like it's that, or like really late at night, because I feel like that's kind of the opposite. That's like when I'm most like awake. Like if I've been awake for a whole day, like that's when my voice will be the best. That's when I'll be like kind of the most like clear-headed, or I'll just have like been thinking about something that day, and I'll have more like material that I want to write about.
Okay, so when you're fresh, you're more ready to attack.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the visuals. The Pastel video.
Yeah.
Is really interesting. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It shows you, but then it cuts to other photographic clips.
Yeah.
So talk about how that was put together.
Yeah, so that was a collaboration between me, my friend Sin, who's the girl in the video, my friend Kendall, who took all the photos. I think I took a couple of the pictures, but she took most of them and developed them and edited them. And then my friend Jake, who filmed the elements of it. And I kind of came up with the concept. Originally, I had like this, I would say I came up with the concept of it. And then I was able to just like get all those people to do what I wanted, basically. But they all like brought something really beautiful to it. And I think like, obviously I couldn't have done that without them. And it was like a good like team to work with, but it took a long time to like get it to we started it in like November, probably like this time last year, and it didn't come out until last August. So it was a long process. Cause then we ended up building the website to go with it. But, yeah, I feel like it was a similar thing to where I was trying to get this vibe that was like maybe a little surreal. Like I wanted people to wonder which of the pictures were just pictures of me and my friends and which of the pictures were taken for the video. And I wanted it to be immersive and kind of sad and kind of like dreamlike in a way.
Right. It definitely leaves you with that feeling, and all the camera angles are really good in the lighting in that video. But I think what stands out the most is your sense of fashion, and fashion is a big part of your life. Is Pastels kind of a nod to Pharrell?
Not consciously, but definitely like that part of the aesthetic. Like I named the song Pastels like because Pharrell talks a lot about like having synesthesia. And I don't know
seeing the music.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that like I technically have that, like, but I feel like that the chords on that felt so like soft and kind of like that beat kind of like fades out and then comes back in a lot. And it just made me think of like pastels. And I also feel like pastel colors make me think of like being a teenager, kind of like being like spring or winter time. And those were all like the vibes of that song for sure.
Nice. So let's go into fashion very directly and
For
what
sure.
you wear.
Yeah.
Where do you pull from?
My sense of
What do you like
fashion
to
is
wear?
like so random, but I go thrifting. I buy stuff kind of randomly, like from stores. I feel like lately I've been like kind of dressing in just like a lot of like button ups and like jeans and just like keeping it super simple. But then I like to wear like weird shit too. I've been trying to kind of make my fashion like a little more like androgynous, maybe.
Okay.
Like some Prince vibes, some Bowie vibes.
I definitely get Bowie vibes from a lot of the stuff you do.
Yeah, I like to do more of that. But yeah, I like I don't know. I mean, I like streetwear stuff. I feel like I'm not what I like with fashion is like I'm not like hardcore with any brand, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not one of those people that's like I'll buy everything Supreme puts out or everything like Bape puts out, but like I like all of those brands individually. I feel like I just want to like mix and match like whatever.
Right, you just want a dope outfit.
Exactly.
And
yeah, I don't care where it
means
comes from.
to an end.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color right now?
Damn, that's an awesome question. Probably like a reddish pink, or like I don't know, like a pale blue. That's one of my favorite like all-time colors, like a baby blue color.
I like that color too.
But I'm in like a red, like a dark pink, like maybe I don't know what the name for that is. Not like a maroon, but just like a reddish pink.
Like rose?
Yeah,
Rosy?
definitely, yeah. A
Rose.
deep rose.
Nice. I don't know. I feel like that color's coming back too. I think men were like away from it for a while.
Yeah.
And now it's coming back around, and that's like dope.
I'm happy about that. I
There's a
want
lot
more
of
bright colors in
antisocial
menswear.
social club pieces that are pink that I really want to get.
Hell yeah.
Let's talk about the album. You're putting that together.
I am.
What can you tell us about it?
Basically, I've been listening to it a lot lately.
What's it going to be called?
It's called Carousel.
Okay.
I started it in winter of 2016. When I was kind of realizing that the band was probably going to break up. And I was realizing that I was going to go to art school and I was going to leave Western Mass. And I was like, had a genuine moment where I was like, do I like keep making music, or like do I keep trying to make music a thing? You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'll always make music like for myself, but do I want to make music?
So soul search.
Yeah, and I pretty much like had this, like it was really weird because I was like, do I keep the name Gabe Gill? Do I do a different name? Do I like, how do I brand myself? And I kind of like started writing this album to like figure those things out, kind of. Because I was like, let me just like see what I'm drawn to. And the album has gone through like so many drafts that like at this point, like that original version of it like kind of doesn't exist anymore. But
Sure.
it's basically all the music I liked when I was a teenager, like put in a blender, and then this album is like what came out.
Okay, so what did you like as a teenager?
I would say it's a combination of rock, like indie rock, pop, hip hop, and like R&B pretty much. It's kind of like those are the elements that it starts with, and then what comes out is like kind of a weird blend of all of those. But Pastels is on the album. That's like the only single from the album that's out.
Got you.
Yeah.
Talk about collaborating with people out here. So I see
Yeah.
Rothstein on a bunch of songs,
That's my
and
guy.
you're kind of doing stuff with Sam Dees.
Yep, that's my guy.
Shout out Sam.
That's my guy for sure. Yeah, I mean, I like to like get in the studio with any new people. I feel like that's a good like exercise for any artist, just to be like, let me try and make a song with this person. Rothstein is like, I was like kind of close to maybe calling music quits or taking a break from it around last spring. And his like support, or like the way that he just like things that he said about my music honestly made me realize like, actually I have to do this. Like it's kind of not a choice anymore. Like I have to do this.
I think a lot of artists talk about that
Yeah.
that idea of you have to, like it's almost a bone to pick.
Totally.
An
Yeah.
axe to grind.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're a victim of music in that way?
I think so. I mean, I love it. Like I think I could like stop making music if I really like wanted to. I could stop. But I think that there is a degree to which like there's things that I like have to say in my music. And when I say like things I have to say, it's like literal words that I have to like articulate, but also like the visual statement and the audio statement and the production statement, like all are things that like for me, like I'd have to get them out. And I think that other people will and have like reacted really well to them. So I feel like that is kind of the thing where it's like, it's things that I have to get out of my system. And that's like something when I've been listening to the album the last couple of days, I was like, yeah, like I didn't spend like 2.5 years on this, like for it to not be really good, I think.
Exactly.
Like, so it's, it's those kind of things, like moments where I really, really put a lot of thought into my music, and I work really hard on it. And I think that like that is kind of the thing that is driving me, is just like that it's really, really important to me. And like the album is like starts like from the first track is like the story of my life up until this point, pretty much. Like it's really, really, really direct.
Segmented.
Yeah. So
And chronological?
not really chronological, but like everything is covered, like between like when I was born to like now, pretty much.
So what are moments in your life that you want to share with people?
I mean, it talks about like what we were talking about before the mics were on, about moving from Boston to Western Mass. Talks about different parts of my family, different members of my family. It talks about just kind of like, I feel like when I was a little kid, I had like a lot of kind of like funny qualities. Like I was just kind of like a weird little kid, and like how I would relate to other kids. And like it really goes back to like playground days, like pretty deep into those elements of being a kid, of growing up. I think it's a lot about growing up and just adjusting to new things, because I feel like for most of my life, like probably still a little bit, but I lost my mom's first partner, she passed away when I was like 4. And I feel like I was just really like scared of change, like just hated like any change for like most of my life. Like my parents would be like, we're going out to dinner and it's a surprise where we're going. And I would be like, no, I don't want it to be a surprise. Like, just tell me. Like, I would like, it was really almost like a phobia of like things changing or like variables that I didn't know. Sure. So I feel like that's kind of what the album is about, is like learning to just adjust to like things in your life that are going to change, because life is change.
Is music a therapy in that way?
100%.
Coping mechanism?
100%. Yeah. I think that like even like very recently there were things in my life where I was like, I'm upset about this, like to the point where it's overwhelming, and like all I can do is like just write about it. Because then I feel like that's kind of why I love like pop music over like a more abrasive style of music, because I can write something that's really hard to write and then I can make it a melody where I can't stop singing it. So it's like taking something that I want to get out of my head and then making it so that I have to face it, or that I have to like engage with it because I love the form that it's in. Like, I think that's a lot of my music practice.
I've never heard it put that way, but that's true of a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Dope. Well, you talked about your parenting. How did your parenting shape you and the way that you grew up?
I mean, my mom definitely was the one who gave me the confidence and kind of gave me like permission to pursue art and to be an artist. And she is an artist herself in a lot of different ways. And I think kind of passed on that gene to me to be like, you know, just to do whatever I can follow, I guess. There was a while where I was really, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Spiderwick Chronicles. It was like this book series that was kind of big a while ago.
I think I heard of them.
And I was like obsessed with the illustrator of those books, and he actually lived like the town over from us in Western Mass. And I was just like so into those books. Like, I really, really, really love them. Like, I've always had like just an obsessive nature when I'm into an artist or into a concept of art. And she like encouraged me to like get in contact with him. And I met him at a couple book signings and stuff. I sent him like a bunch of letters and emails and stuff. And I got to do an internship at his house when I was like 14 or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Doing what?
I like doing nothing, but like I was like I was
like around the process.
Exactly.
Real
like
intern.
when you're like a 14-year-old, there's not a lot that you can contribute. But I was like, I did like some blog posts for him. I was like organizing some stuff. But I was just like learning so much like of how he does stuff. But like she really encouraged me to go for that. My dad actually is a writer, and he has published a bunch of books. Like he writes like science fiction kind of stuff. And I feel like he also was like influential to me to know that I could kind of pursue those dreams, and that like kind of being an artist in a professional way wasn't like an impossible thing. My other mom, my mom's partner, is has always, I feel like she is like keeps me a little more like real, because she's very organized and very like money minded to a degree. And I feel like if I just had my mom and my dad, I would be like broke all the time. But yeah, so it's all like she has also definitely like nurtured that creative spirit, but in a way that is like a little more practical.
I think that's interesting, because creativity and money are often at odds, but they're always being shoehorned together when you think of a topic like the music business.
True.
How do you feel about money?
I think that I really like money, and I like the idea of like making a lot of money off of music. But I also think that at this point in my life, I feel like I think there's a lot of things that I want to explore, and I feel like I'm just at the starting point of like how I could make money with my music, because I've done a little bit of this, but I would love to write more songs for other people, because I think I could write like hits for other artists and then be able to make my music with a lot more creative freedom. That's something I would love to do, like if I was going to really like have a music career. But I also think like I love the work that I've done with Take Magazine. I would love to work for more publications. I would love to do more art kind of stuff. I love teaching. I work doing some teaching right now, and I would like to do that more in the future. So I feel like there's a lot of like options for how I could support my music with work that wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, I'm like compromising my art, because like I genuinely love all those things. But I feel like I think that my music is pretty accessible, and I think that there is a good chance that I could have a lot of like financial success with music. And I also would love to do, like I've been talking to Rothstein a little bit about this recently, about doing like some creative direction or kind of like, you know, artistic or like aesthetic consulting for other artists. I think that's something I would be really good at and something I would love to do. So I think that like creativity and money has never like felt that like disparate to me, but I feel like people pitch it to be so different like most of the time. Like I remember my freshman year at school, like I was sitting around with a bunch of kids and someone was just like, well, like who's ready to just be like broke artists for the rest of our life? And I was like, not me.
Yeah,
like I'm not down.
stereotype.
Yeah, I was like, no. So yeah, I feel like that, I don't know. I feel like I'm not really worried about it. I think that there's a chance I could make a lot of money off music. I think there's a chance that I could make a little bit of money off of music and supplement it with a ton of other things that I know I can do. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, how many years do you have left? You go to Mass Art right now.
Yeah, I have, well, like if this semester is almost over, I have like 2.5 years left. I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it feel getting in? Well, no, I don't want to ask that. I want to ask, what do you think you want to do as like a first job out of school?
Probably work for a magazine.
As a writer?
What's great about Take Magazine, what they have
Yeah.
really blessed me with, is that I've been able to do a lot of stuff for them. I have run their Instagram, done some stuff for their Facebook. I made a video ad for them this summer. I directed it. I wrote an article for them that's going to be in a forthcoming piece. I interviewed Machakos Chalo from Western Mass. I did an illustration for one of their issues. I've done graphic design for them. So it's like, I kind of feel like I'd be down to do any one of those things. But yeah, I would love to do something like that. I would love to do like some social media marketing type stuff, in terms of like creatively directing what stuff's going to look like. Or even like kind of organizational end of things. But I really love like print is important to me, but also websites are important to me. Like I feel like both of those things were like formative to me in terms of what media I love.
Right. And it's interesting how
yeah.
magazines have kind of realized that to compete in this environment, they have to have a really strong media presence
100%.
to back up their,
Yeah.
you know, subscriber-based, product-based business model.
Definitely.
What are some other magazines that you really like?
I love Fader. Fader is like my like god.
Yeah, you have a
Like,
Fader picture right here of Little
Yes.
Uzi, which is just off shot.
Yes,
I really like that picture too because
Yep.
the aesthetic is
And-
all there. Those like low red lights and like
I'm about to blow your mind.
That's in Hawaii. Blow my mind
I
right now.
interned for the guy who shot that photo
Oh shoot!
2
So
years
who
ago.
is it?
His name is Tyler Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, he shot the Echo video for Kevin Abstract, and he's done a couple other things. But yeah, so yeah, no, I love Fader. I love ID a lot. I like
Yeah.
Dazed a lot. Those are probably like my top ones. There's definitely like smaller magazines that I like too. But I think what's funny is like a lot of the things that I would think of as like magazines that I like are actually like websites, but those are probably my favorite like print magazines. Like I love anything. The Rookie, I don't know if you know Rookie.
I'm not familiar.
It's this girl Tavi Gevinson, or not girl, woman, who she had like
yeah.
a style blog called Style Rookie, and then she does this site. It's kind of like kind of like for young women. She does like it has writing.
I
and all
did
these
run
different things.
into it. She
and then
was
she
profiled
makes these big like fat magazines that like I think they're like yearly, and those are dope. But yeah, those are some of my favorites. Anything that's like big and colorful and has a lot of pictures.
You're down
like,
for it.
I'm very down for it. Yeah.
I like that too. Is like you just get that. It's like an inspiration tome to me more than a magazine sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
What we mentioned marketing. What do you think are the new rules of music marketing?
I think like this is something that I still think of in terms of like myself and like how much I do or want to do this. I think it's like you have to be the brand and you have to be the character a little bit. Like I think that if you look at all the like
bring narrative
exactly
to
like
your
someone
art.
Like Uzi again out of frame.
Yep.
It's like Uzi created like a whole he's like a cartoon character. Like he created a whole world for himself. Like
big time.
Like with his mixtapes, with how he has like the Scott Pilgrim inspired artwork on all of them, kind of like anime vibes. And then he had the whole narrative of like him and Britney and like like kind of these like recurring themes of like, oh, he's like flexing on these other guys, like, or he's, missing his girlfriend and like all these different things. And like, I think that that's like the biggest thing that you can do is kind of like that consistency, because I also feel like with the internet, we have the ability to put out so much content, but if all that content is really different, I think it can be hard for people to latch onto it. And like, that's why like recently, like I used to like pay other people to make artwork for my songs, but I've just been making all my own artwork because I feel like it's going to make it all more cohesive because people will recognize the same like touch in all of them. And like Brockhampton, like they put out like a ton of videos like in this past year, but like they all have the same format to them and they're all like color edited the same. And I feel like that like plays a huge part. Like people love stuff that recurs and stuff like it's the same thing. Like, I mean, even like this is not new rules, but like when Kanye started out and for the first 3 albums, he had the school theme and the bear like logo. Like, I think it's stuff like that, except that happened over a large span of time. But now for that to make an impact, you would need to do that in the span of like 6 months instead of like 3 years, I think. Like to have, like it's similar to what Uzi did with, Love is Rage, Lil Uzi versus the World, Perfect Love Type. Yeah, where it's like all those similar vibes, the kind of cartoony covers, the like love themes, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So like you said, everything, because music and content is coming so quickly, it's more about bringing that consistency and packing it in tight.
Totally.
Do you ever feel like you run out of inspiration or run out of ideas?
No.
Dope.
Honestly, no. Yeah.
That's all you need to say, man.
Yeah. No, I really don't.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I wanna take it back out to this Massachusetts framework. We have a lot of artists out here, and there's kind of a beginning for us Massachusetts to be on the map for this national music scene.
Yeah.
Do you see a path to that, and what needs to change for us to get there?
Yeah, I mean, I see a path to that. I think that Mass needs to like unify a little bit more, because I think that Western Mass has like the dopest scene out there. I think it's cool.
But at the same time, it's very distinctly underground.
Very underground.
Because of the, like we talked about, this idea of it's a little more farmy, it's a little more rural.
And it's very like condensed, I think, too. Like it's in like, it's a little spread out, but it's like a couple of towns. And I think that Boston also has a scene that is pretty unified. Like I feel like all the like top guys in Boston like know each other and like maybe haven't worked together, but all like
understanding
like each other, or don't like each other but understand each other, and then but I feel like people from Boston aren't reaching to Western Mass, and people from Western Mass aren't reaching to Boston, and I feel like once that happens, like we're gonna be like a problem, like that's gonna be like crazy, because there's so many good artists out here, there's so many good artists out there, and it's all people that I think even Boston, even though it's not underground per se, like someone like Tim LaRue's artists, like Cousin Stiz or whatever, they have almost a DIY edge to them because of how proactive they were with like putting out videos and putting out projects and just like touring and like making sure that people knew who they were. without like backing from like a label necessarily, or without like big bucks to do that. And even stuff like the Bodega Store and just different like blogs and spots in Boston that just kind of do their own thing and like make a lane. I think that the beautiful thing about Mass is that there's not really that crazy dominating music force. Like it's not like somewhere like New York where you're going to go there and you're going to be doing your thing and then there's going to be another guy doing the exact same thing. Like there's a lot of like open lanes out here, and there's a lot of like
of open lanes, but also there's a lot of alternative-y artists where it feels like there's real individuals, and we're not chasing a sound that has been a generational sound.
Totally. That's what I think is really cool about it. But I think, I just kind of think like that cross-pollination has to happen a little bit, that like, you know, that like just reaching back and forth, like taking and giving from each other.
Word. I have one last question, because you did talk about performance. How do you feel about the performance aspect of music and when you're performing live?
Yeah, I've been thinking about my live show lately because I think it has to be a lot better, because I think that there's an experience that people get from listening to my recorded music that I might not match live. But I love performing. I miss performing with a band because that was amazing. And I think that like I definitely have a vision for like eventually where I want my music to go, or my live show to go, which is like visuals, projection, you know, like more musicians on stage with me. I would love to have a guitarist as part of my live show, but I think right now it's, you know, it's like backing tracks and me singing, which I think is good. Like it gets the job done for sure. And I think I have like a good live show now, especially to people who don't know my music. I think I'm able to make a really good impact. But I think that like if I was gonna like go on tour or something like that, I would want to like step up like in a big way. I think you know, it kind of just comes down to like a financial thing of like, where can I get that
how can you support this infrastructure that you need?
Exactly. But it'll happen eventually. But I think that's because I feel like my favorite artists are like huge artists, and like even if I'm not on that level, I feel like the things that like seeing Kanye live, seeing the Red Hot Chili Peppers live, like I love seeing them, but then I also love seeing like the stage design and the visuals and the whole like feeling that's created. So I think that like I would love to have that, and because I feel like, you know, I don't only make music, I make videos, I make visuals, I make, you know, whatever. So it's like that would be really, really great to be able to get these songs across like in another dimension as well.
Dope. I am hopeful, man, and I think you're still so young. There's a huge horizon for you, and you definitely need to keep going. You kind of mentioned how, you know, you've done a little bit of everything, and it's going to continue to be a do it all world. But I think there's definitely going to be people to get behind you and support you. And I'm excited for you. Did you have any last shout outs?
My social medias, at _Gabe Gill, Instagram and Twitter. www.chattygabe.com. Chatty is in talkative. And that's pretty much it.
My man, thank you for doing this interview
so much,
with me.
bro. Yeah.
And this has been the Organized Sound Podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.
Woo. Why you worried about how the next nigga flexing? When you dumb niggas gon' learn your lesson. Back off, cause my patience you be testing. And now I just can't keep dealing with all this negativity. So keep that bullshit to yourself, cause it don't mean shit to me. Nah. Say that shit for the birds. Say that shit for the birds. Give a fuck what you heard. I don't give a fuck what you heard. You can say that shit for the birds.